Hey everyone, this is Alex from Nick and Alex, our Dicks with Friends. Here at Mobfront Records, we are currently considering changing how we do things. We're thinking about moving towards the direction of special interest and humor. If you happen to make a podcast, make videos, or write articles along that line, please send either a link or a sample of your work to submissions at mobfrontrecords.com. Again, that's SUBMISSIONS at MOBFRONTRECORDS.com. Pretty sure I spelled that right. Anyway, this week's podcast is going to be a little bit different. No interview, just Nick, myself, and our friend Phil just talking about stuff. Takes a couple minutes to get going. I highly suggest sticking around at least to the second part. The sound quality is not the best. It was recorded with equipment not really suited for this situation. But still, we think it's worth listening to. Hey, thanks for listening. All right, bye.
Nick and Alex are Dicks with Friends.
I still haven't finished the mic
Nick
one because the
and
sound
Alex are Dicks
so I
with
couldn't have mine on my
Friends.
phone. Recording?
Yes, we are.
Okay, right now.
Nick and Alex are
Right.
Dicks with Friends.
You just heard. You're
The theme music would be playing right now.
Nick
But,
and
theme
Alex
music,
are
theme
Dicks
music.
with
Yeah, don't worry.
Friends.
Yeah, no.
son of a bitch.
This is
Yay!
Okay.
You just tuned in to Nick and Alex are Dicks with Friends. This is our first ever field recording. Everyone, yay!
I don't know why you're so yelling.
We're trying something different. We're not in
We're
lacrosse.
trying something different.
So we're doing it. We're recording a podcast while driving to explain what we're driving to. Nick, say what we're doing on this day today.
Dude, I don't want. It's sad. I don't want to talk about it.
It's pretty
We're driving to Iowa because our dogs have been getting somewhat aggressive with my daughter, and our friend Aiden has agreed to foster them for a period until, she can be a little older and it's not dangerous and worrisome any longer. So it's super fucking sad. I don't know why we could have just said we were going for a sandwich.
We're bringing in like real life into this
Yeah,
podcast.
I guess.
It totally sucks. So
Everybody
it's
else.
me and Nick, and we are accompanied by Daniel James Stone, better known as Phil. Phil, say a little something to the people out there.
Hi, everyone.
Phil, why do we call you Phil when your name's not Phil?
Well, drunk guy at one of your parties when I was, I believe, 12. I believe I was the age of 12. I was at a party, believe it or not.
We were irresponsible.
I was playing pool and no one knew my name, so they decided I looked like a Phil. Wow.
Holy shit.
Actually, I looked like a Philip.
Yeah.
It was Philip for quite some time, and then
It
it was
was.
shortened to Phil later,
You liked it better.
and it just stuck.
Yeah. You were mad at Philip, and you said you were okay with Phil. That's why we shortened it.
I don't remember saying that, but
You totally
I don't
did.
remember a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we're trying something a little different. We're not really going to have an interview. We're just talking about shit. And our topic that we're not going to follow at all is ghost stories.
I'm totally following.
I don't have any ghost stories.
Me neither.
I have not.
You have ghost stories.
I don't have
You just said what they are.
I don't have a ghost story. I have other people's ghost stories.
Tell your ghost story about your wife.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna say, I've known a million people who had ghost stories.
You don't even know a million people.
A million. I'm sticking by that, and I mean it literally. A million people had ghost stories, and each one of them has a million ghost stories. What do you think about that, Phil? One of them is your younger sister, Valerie, who she has everything. She's seen so many ghosts. Ghosts are everywhere, and for me, at no point in my life have I ever even suspected that there might have been a ghost. I've never even had any sort of tangential connection to the spirit world, and that might just be because I suck. I'm not going to deny that ghosts exist. I've never experienced anything ghostly. Anyway, my ghost story has to do with my wife, and it's a great story because she had fortune cookies. She bought a box of fortune cookies, which is a weird thing for anybody but Lizzie to do. She hates pie and loves fortune cookies, which is backwards. But she
likes eating the fortune cookies?
Yes, loves them.
It's gross.
I give her my fortune cookies.
They're good on ice cream.
She'll take all the fortune cookies at the table.
That is the creepiest bunch of trees I've ever seen in my entire
It's
life.
super creepy.
Holy fucking shit.
It's like fucking ants right above them, see?
That is some fucking Tim
Isn't that
Burton
creepy?
trees.
Yeah. So anyway, she had this box of fortune cookies she was eating. And she was like...
What the fuck is with the trees? Holy shit.
She was trying to tell herself not to actually eat the fortune cookies, so she kept the box in the kitchen and was trying to keep herself from going in there and eating more because they were addictive. And so she had the box in the kitchen, and she's in the living room, and she's eating a fortune cookie. She was watching TV, and then she heard something in the kitchen, and she went in, and the box had been tipped over, and one of the fortune cookies had been moved. And then she was like, okay, that's creepy. And then she went back in the living room and she heard the noise again. And she came back and it had been moved again. And she got like super creeped out because it's like a fortune cookie too. So it's like fraught. And so she's all scared about ghosts. And she ended up, when our roommate Joe Lyman at the time came home like an hour later, Lizzie was sitting in her car in the driveway because she was so afraid of the ghosts in the house.
What was the fortune in the ghost open fortune cookie?
I don't know. I don't remember. Lizzie would probably know. However, the truth is that we had a mouse. And the mouse was grabbing the fortune cookie and trying to take it away to his mouse home. We found out we had a mouse later when we got a cat. And the cat murdered the mouse and the entire mouse family and brought one of the little mouse babies up to us as a trophy and was like smacking it around. It was super upsetting and sad.
Was that Phobos?
That was Sir Phobos, Knight of Mars, beater of ass. A fine cat that we had to get rid of because Lizzie was allergic to cats and we didn't know. So, sad pet stories is really more the theme of
I don't have anything. I don't know anything about dead pets or ghosts, but I do. Someone did recently bring up in a spiritual world sort of thing. You know when you're having a dream and you're doing whatever, and then you hear like a big explosion in your dream, or like something blows up in your dream, but you find out that explosion was just like a car backfiring outside or something.
Okay.
And he was like, "How did your mind know that was going to happen?" Because several times, is it that sound? It was in David Wong's book, actually. Like, is it the sound spurs on a dream that you think was happening before the sound, or does your brain? How does that? Is it so instantaneous?
It's that fast.
It's that fast.
Yeah, the brain can process information in infinitesimal amounts of time, hundredths of a second, way faster than you can perceive it. So just hearing a sound and processing it into something else that you can understand in the context of the dream would happen much quicker than you could even be aware that it was happening.
So the dreams that we're having, like those short spurts of dreams that we're having, those are happening like in nanoseconds. Those dreams are just
generally
as fast.
We missed our exit by about 10 miles.
Fantastic. I'm going to have to turn around.
So we missed our exit.
No. Don't turn around here.
I'm going to wait for an exit. I'm not just
No, we're gonna
drive through the fucking median.
We're gonna stop the first part of this podcast because we need to get turned around. So anyway, this is the first part. We'll be back.
You're listening to Evil Twin by lacrosse legend Porcupine.
With delusion they can sell us mirror images or
Fuck you guys. We're back. We're back recording. We're doing field recordings from this shitty-ass laptop microphone and a moving car. I'm sorry. That's an expensive laptop.
There's nothing wrong with the laptop. It's just that the microphone.
I was just
really
saying, but when we're turning around, Nick missed the exit. I was just saying, listening back to the other. You missed the exit?
I didn't know what it was. He's got the GPS.
By 20 miles.
Dude, you have to see Nick's facial expression. He was flabbergasted.
I have no idea where the exit is.
But I've noticed listening to these podcasts that when we're recording, we're having a normal conversation, but I'm watching the counter,
35 south.
and I'm also watching the recordings.
35 south.
And I've noticed that a lot of times I'll miss what someone's talking about, and I'll restate a really obvious point that they made about 20 minutes ago. So, looking into it, if you think I'm the biggest retard ever, you're probably right. Now, this segues into a problem with Phil. Since Phil was a young man,
Problem.
he took irony seriously, including self-deprecation. So if
you felt that he was.
Oh yeah, that should be said.
Yeah.
So if I would say something like, "Boy, I'm pretty stupid," there'd be a pause, and Phil would go, "Yeah, I can see that. I can see how you're kind of stupid."
Hey, you are pretty dumb.
In my defense, I still say things like that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Daniel meant it as a joke, but Alex was just like, "Dude, your brother's a fucking asshole."
So anyway, I'm a big fan of podcasts, and some of the podcasts I suggest you guys listen to is Cracked has some really good ones. Grantland has some good ones, and there's one called Vice. Vice is really good because they basically do what you wish NPR did.
The best one of those you ever did that just drove Alex into just a fucking tailspin of rage was when we were playing Guitar Hero, and he was trying to play a song, and he did okay, and then you like walked up, picked up the guitar, turned it on hard setting, and then played the exact same song better than Alex. He's like, "We fucking did that just to show me how much I suck."
That is okay.
It was so bad.
I actually never played the game on hard. I always played it on expert.
Oh, expert. I'm in hard setting. It's the hardest one. But yeah, the expert
He
setting.
just changed it.
He
So
like turned it up and was like, and I'm still gonna be
He
better
uses
than you.
expert. Holy shit! Fuck you both. Okay. There's
He only had for like 2 weeks.
there's an unwritten rule in skateboarding that if you're at a spot and someone's trying a trick, you don't do that trick. Like you can't do it. Even if you went to the spot to like record that trick, you have to wait until the guy lands it. Even if you just do first try, at least that guy had that one moment before. And I guess it doesn't necessarily, if you're not in the skateboard culture, that necessarily. But yeah, Phil just walked up. He's like, "Hey, you did pretty good." Bam, motherfucker, you're a bitch.
You were really mad about it.
Anyway, so
It was
kind of a dick move.
Yeah, it was a bit of a dick move.
one of the podcasts I listened to was the Grantland one, and they were talking about Wes Anderson. And I just found out that when Wes Anderson does a movie, he does an entire animated movie to show to all the actors beforehand. So he completely animates an entire movie to give to the people, and then they're like,
And if you don't know anything about animation, which you probably do because this is the information age, but animation is such an enormous pain in the ass that we outsource that to Koreans because we're like, fuck this. Like actual animated TV shows and movies, they refuse to do that. Like they can't. They have to outsource that to third world countries because they're like, this sucks. Wes Anderson does that for no money, for no reason.
Yeah, he
for a
absolutely.
film that no one's gonna watch.
He's absolutely paying for that out of his own pocket.
craziest thing
There's
I've
no
ever heard.
producer who'd be like, "Oh, you want to make a quick, complete animated film before?"
Are you absolutely sure that's true? Because that just sounds like the most insane goddamn thing anyone would ever do.
The only thing that might be more insane is what Beck did with that album. What did Beck do with that album?
He released an album, and maybe since then he's released, because this was like a year or so ago that I read about it, maybe since then he's released it on them, but at least for a while he was only releasing it on sheet music, which is either the funniest thing anyone ever did or the most pretentious thing anyone ever did, depending on how seriously he was taking it.
Can you go to the fucking piano store and buy his sheet music? Or like,
I hope that he sent it to like Sam Goody, and then they had to fold it up and jam it into one of the CDs.
I hope it came in one long scroll. You had to okay, so morning phases.
But you know what? Not on download.
Morning.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, this album is currently not available on the internet. Okay, so Morning Phases was just released, and I haven't listened to it. I only got to hear the single on Ellen. Yes, my wife likes to watch Ellen.
Wow, that's the
And,
percent.
I was like, well, this is just another shitty Arctic Monkey sort of fucking thing. So, but you were telling me that he was a folk musician originally,
Yeah, he made like folk blues music.
and as a joke,
Yeah,
okay, because the same thing happened with
because
To
he's
the
always
Left,
done kind of
the
folk
Beyonce
bluesy
song,
stuff.
like the
Yeah.
To the Left. That was a joke that they made, and that became like her number one hit. The
Yeah.
To the Left. So you were saying Loser was the same thing.
Yeah, it was him demonstrating what a terrible rapper he would be. So he did this goofy, fake rap thing that everybody thought was funny, and they put it on the album, and then it became a huge hit. But it was him saying, like, wow, how bad of a rapper am I? And then he became, like it became this whole thing that he's melding forms, like rap and folk and blues all together in a new modernist sort. And that became his whole thing. But really, that was just a joke. He was just going to play regular music.
Yeah, last week one of these podcasts we were talking about disconnection with that. We always, you personally were saying that you could always find why people like things you thought sucked, like Motley Crue, well, it's stuff you can dance to. And culturally speaking, that we never said that was like comparable to Bob Dylan, but in this culture nowadays, they're saying things that we would just consider fun dance music. They would equate that to Bob Dylan.
They've stopped separating.
Now,
they've stopped drawing a line between art and entertainment.
Beck was interesting because
They don't
he's
do
from
that.
our culture. He would be thrown in the group with like the Pixies, but the Pixies you can name several songs. Surfer Rosa would be an album that was kind of like they brought in that art element to punk rock and all that kind of stuff. Beck was someone that just not that many people talked about. Everyone just.
Oh no, not in my generation. Beck, people loved Beck.
Well, what did they say? Because a lot of people, they were just assumed that he was a genius, and it was weird. It crept up on you. Like, here's this silly Loser song, and then he was a genius. It crept
Yeah,
up
it was
on me.
Odelay.
Odelay.
Everyone loved Odelay. When Odelay came out, that was like, this is changing music. This is the new face of modern music was Odelay, and they play like two turntables and a microphone. And I was like, that's fucking boring, man.
Okay, but-
I don't get it, but that was the one. When Odelay came out, all of a sudden the dialogue went from Beck having a guy who was a hit. His album after Mellow Gold wasn't that successful, and then he did Odelay, and it was number one, a hugely popular hit that it seemed like everybody bought that year except for me, and it was just critically just adored. Like people, the entire dialogue was, this man is a genius who is changing the face of music forever. And I've never gotten it. And sorry, he seems like I said, that sheet music thing may very well be the funniest thing anyone ever did. He might be the nicest guy in the world. I don't know. I just think Odelay sucks, and I didn't get any of it. And I never understood what, I liked Loser. Loser was a fun song. Two turntables and a microphone was boring. Devil's Haircut was dumb. I have not liked, the only Beck song I ever liked was Loser. So,
I kind of because Weezer
Never really
said
got
that.
it.
Weezer said that like joke hip hop thing that they kept making the same
they kept
joke.
saying homie, and you realize that.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not kidding, are they?
Yeah.
That's how they talk.
Yeah, and they did that in the Red
Are they really
album.
from Kenosha?
No, it was made up.
Oh, okay.
It was just some new thing. But I was talking to someone earlier this week, and we were talking about, and I brought this up to you guys earlier before this podcast, that once you do a satire of a genre in film, you can no longer take that genre seriously. And it's actually kind of an interesting thing because, The Last Action Star was a little ahead of its time, but like Hot Shots Part Duh.
For the record, it's the Last Action Hero.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And Hot Shots Part Duh and Shoot 'Em Up has kind of ruined action movies. You never see a serious action movie anymore. And it's kind of cool because to be able to understand, for that satire to become popular, you have to understand that genre to a point. I guess the perfect example is Shaun of the Dead. This is why I don't like Walking Dead, and I don't like it. I haven't given it the time of day because I don't think you can take zombie movies seriously. But what Shaun of the Dead did is that they love zombie movies. You can tell. To me, it's the best zombie movie. And they took all the best parts of zombie movies. They respected it, but they also made it funny. And as soon as you do a satire of a genre, you no longer can respect it. So maybe Weezer and Beck, was hip hop done when they did that? Was NWA done when they did that?
I don't know. Oh, something that bringing up Hot Shots Part 2 reminded me of here's a little trivia. What actor in Hollywood has been arrested more times than any other actor?
Nicholas Nolte.
No. Phil? Take a guess.
Sinatra.
No. Arrested more than any other actor out there.
Charlie Sheen.
Nope. Martin Sheen. He's been arrested 55 times.
What?
Yeah.
The dad?
Yeah. You know why? He's a protester. He's constantly at protests. He's always getting arrested at them. So, but yeah, all those rappers and everything, he beats all their asses. He's 55 times that dude's been arrested.
How do I not know he's a protester? I know that the Madonna husband is. What's Sean?
Oh, Sean Penn. Yeah, no.
How do I know
The
he's
Madonna husband.
The Madonna. That's how you remember Sean Penn. Not the Oscars or the acclaimed actor who was married to Madonna like 20 years ago. That's awesome.
I just watched
I fucking love that.
the Tom Green stand-up on Netflix.
Oh, was that good?
Well, a lot of it's improv, but he has a couple good jokes. He has a joke on some teacher sent her 14-year-old student a nude picture of herself, and he went like, my generation was more wholesome because it was so complicated to send a naked photo to yourself. It was more wholesome. And he was like, think about what you would have to do. First of all, you'd have to get hammered drunk on like a Saturday night and be like, you know what? I'm gonna send a picture of my tits to the 14-year-old that sits in the second row. Then you get like your camera, and you gotta get those screw-in fucking flash bulbs or whatever. You gotta set up a tripod. You gotta disrobe.
You get that timer right.
You gotta get the timer right. You gotta and then you don't get to view it, so you're gonna have to take several different takes. You have to go to the mall. You have to give them your film, and then you have to wait 24 hours for your film to develop. All the meanwhile, you have to stay just ripped drunk because this is a really bad idea. And then you go back to the photo place, and you get doubles for the same price as a single because that's a good value. So you get your doubles. Already you're 36 deep, 36 hours deep in this motherfucker. So then you have to take the photos. You go through all 96 photos, most of them blurry, most of them fuzzy. You find the perfect one.
7 or 8 of them.
Put it in an envelope. You'll find out the 14-year-old's parents' address on the phone book. You find your eyes only. You drop it in the mailbox. There's a pretty good chance somewhere in that 72-hour time span you'd be like, you know what?
You're gonna have a second thought. Yeah.
But he also had a good joke on
Did we miss the exit again?
Nope.
Okay, good.
He also had a good joke on texting.
5 more miles.
On texting, on how when you get a text, you feel happy. You know, like you feel happy when you get an email or a text sent to you.
Not.
Your body releases dopamine.
I feel super.
And then that's why people are fucking doing 3,000 texts a day.
Yeah.
They're like buzzed on dopamine all day from fucking receiving texts.
So there's something wrong with me, is what you're telling me, because whenever I see a text, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he has a pretty good intro. He's like, my life's been really interesting. I started a cable access TV show. I did a bunch of stuff to inspire Jackass. That show was picked up by MTV. I got super famous. I got to make a movie. I was married to Drew Barrymore for like a month. That was super awesome. And my life's really doing well, really good right now. I'm currently making an internet TV show in the basement of my house.
I will say that I like getting emails better than text messages, because when I see the email thing, that means I can just erase it and never look at it. I don't know when the last time I looked at my email. Lizzie looks sometimes, clears out some of the fucking spam. Because
Wait, you have an email?
I have an email. And mostly I save writing to it. I'll send emails to myself of it. It's one of them. I back it up in a couple of different ways, and that's one of them.
So anyway, if you're hearing this,
evidently that's a stupid way to do it, I've been told.
If you're hearing this and you're confused why this tech-savvy podcast, where they're talking about neurological disorders, even though they don't know what the fuck, dream disorders.
Yeah.
They seem to have no idea what they're talking about, and they don't know how to operate an email, why it sounds different than the other ones. We're recording this on a laptop. This is our first field recording. Our topic, ghost stories.
Yeah, you were talking about the dreams, and I mentioned off camera, this was a secret, but I'm bringing it to the masses, that I've never experienced any of what you were talking about with the dreams, with the sound and everything, or I might have. I don't really know, because I don't remember any of my dreams. I do not remember the last time I remembered a dream, so
Or is it just
I'm
that you
lost in
don't
all of
want to
that.
admit
They're probably just terrible.
that you dreaming about nothing but naked school children?
Yeah, it's probably just me like plowing like dudes and like cows and stuff.
We don't have to have giant foreheads though.
Plowing dudes while
Giant
plowing?
foreheads.
Yeah, dead air. So,
Yeah,
hey.
we ran out of things to say for him.
So,
I feel bad.
One of the things,
about
so we're going to throw it to a song. All right, thanks a lot. You're listening to Nick and Alex are Dicks with Friends.
Seamless.
Stop it.
Seamless.
This is Lord Only Knows by Beck off of Overlay.
You only got one finger left, and it's pointing at the door. And you're taking for granted what the Lord's laid on the floor. So I'm picking up the pieces, and I'm putting them up for sale. Throw your meal ticket out the window, put your skeletons in jail. 'Cause Lord only knows it's getting late. Your senses are gone, so don't you hesitate. Give yourself a call, let your bottom dollars fall. Throwing your two big cans down the drain.
It's terrible. Okay, so
Well, hold on. Yeah, we're recapping a couple stories that we kind of left hanging.
yeah,
Are we recording?
Yeah,
we can do that. So we're recapping a couple stories that we started and other podcasts we didn't finish. There's the one about me and Mike Marty taking a shower together.
yeah, you need to tell that story.
We might get to that.
All right.
Or just let your imagination run.
So we'd mentioned before because Mikey had mentioned he wasn't at this show, our very first show with Disabled, like 10 years or so ago, and Daniel here was there. Phil was there, and it was the Anal Blast show at the Concordia Ballroom, which was just awful for a lot of reasons. And
Do you remember? Okay, this podcast really works because we know a lot of people from playing in bands. When we did that show, we didn't know Steve from the Warehouse. We didn't know another band. So what I did, we knew a couple sort of, like what we did is that we just went around, asked people that we thought played in bands, and what we got was, I knew Scotty, and Scotty was a skateboard kid, and I said, Scotty, don't you play in a band? He was like, yeah, I play in a band. And I'm like, well, my band is trying to do a little promotion show. It's going to be a $1 show. And if you want, I can put you on the bill. And he was like, yeah, I didn't know the name of his band. I just knew he played in the band. I thought he was in Cop Eater, which was
fantastic.
But we got because the whole bill was like Silver Ink and all these bands.
Yeah, all these bands that didn't play.
But we got Scotty's band, which we'll release who that was in a second. But we got a Christian band.
Well, but they weren't on the bill.
No,
they called us that night because that Zach kid that was a friend of yours, Daniel. Zach called us. He was like, "Hey, you were setting up a show. Could my band play it?" And we're like, "Well, all the other bands that are on the flyer have called out now, so sure." Like that actual show, not one of the bands that was on the flyer actually played that show. It was the most disorganized piece of shit
show. Who all played? It was Starting Over. There was us, and there was Anal Blast.
I don't even remember Starting Over being at that show.
You don't remember
Starting Over started it.
Or the Christian rock.
All of our friends came. Now, Scotty shows up, and he plays in a band called Anal Blast.
We're evidently very big at the death metal scene.
Yeah, they're huge in the grindcore scene.
And we had specifically said, this
$1.
is a nothing show. This is a $1 show. And they're like, no, it's cool. We like just playing any shows. We'll play anytime, anywhere. That's what they said. And they show up, and the lead singer, who is enormous. And this part we talked about before. Just giant dude, so fat that sweatpants were a necessity. He had to wear them because nothing else would fit him. And
In
just
a van.
filthy and gross. Like, to the point that, as mentioned before, he shook our hands when we got pink eye. And
I'm glad he didn't touch me.
yeah.
Okay. You jump. Okay, he comes around,
Yeah.
finds out it's a dollar show, loses his fucking
Look, just
mind.
start berating
he
us, saying this is bullshit. He's like, this is just your friends. This isn't a show. This is just your fucking friends. Why would I play this piece of shit show? And we're like, dude, we told you what that was. And he'd shown up in a van full of just gear and like they were setting
cases
up.
of.
Yeah.
He brought a CD store.
Yeah,
He brought
a record
a
store.
set-up record store
Yeah.
of nothing but grindcore.
Yeah, they were like folding this out. There was like multiple bands, all these T-shirts and stuff. It took them like an hour and a half to set up all this stuff for this $1 show at the Concordia Ballroom. And then he's pissed at us. He was like, "I'm losing money doing this, driving up here." And we're like, "What? We fucking told you what this show was." Like, at one point, he left. He walked out.
Yeah.
The rest of his band was standing there, and he just left.
Now-
And like, I guess he was gonna walk back to Minneapolis because we caught up to him walking down the street.
We all, yeah.
And we talked to
But
him
then
into
he
coming back.
then he said, "This is just part of the act. I get myself worked
and he's
up."
like, I get myself worked up. This is part of the band because I don't really. He was like, I don't really care about any of this music anymore. Like I did when I was younger, but now it just seems gay to me. So I just have to get myself all pissed off about something.
So
we're like,
So we all
makes
get
perfect
together.
sense.
yeah, I guess.
So we
We're like,
all get
right.
together. Now we made
Let's go play the show.
there's over 100 people.
Yeah.
So we made maybe $200 that night for people coming and going. It was a Concordia back in the day, so college kids would come in. So we all got together with the bands and we said, all right, we're going to give this fat fuck all of the money from the door. Plus, we're going to buy a bunch of gear from a bunch of merchandise, t-shirts, stickers. For years in the disabled practice room, we had the anal blast thongs hanging.
Yeah, because they sold.
Now, some of the t-shirts, we were trying to get the least offensive one.
Yeah, and it was
The one I had said, "Suck the shit off my dick, at least I'm not gay."
Yeah.
And the other one...
That was like one of the better ones.
And they were just
fucking offensive.
they were just JPEGs
Like,
taken off the internet of like hardcore like shit porn.
Yeah.
That were just like stretched out JPEGs. I don't even know a print shop that would print that shit.
yeah, I think he might have had to do it. Those might have been iron-ons. They might have been iron-ons that he did in his house.
So-
because it was just like I can't imagine anyone buying those. It was like it was a Cannibal Corpse album cover in
They
there. It was
refer to
fucking
themselves
awful.
Yeah, those
as
are pretty
menstrual
fucked
core.
Yeah, because they kept making jokes.
So starting overplayed and we played.
Yeah, so starting overplayed, they were a Christian punk band, and they had their little signs like it's 5 o'clock and Jesus, whatever. And they played, and we'd never heard them before.
Don't we have a song kind of like that on one of our albums?
Yeah, we were unnecessarily mean to them. Zach Shannon's a perfectly nice kid. The rest of them were kind of douchey. But so they played, and it was just Christian punk, and then we played, and we did all right for a first show. I
Oh,
thought.
dude, remember he lost his mind? We either played first. No, we're playing in the middle.
Yeah.
We refused to play first or last. And then we're like, okay, because there's 3 bands. And then he went, we're fucking headlining.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Okay.
That whole it was just.
So he gets on stage, and it's straight grindcore. I believe the first thing he said
Remember,
is
they didn't have a bass player.
Who was it that he looked at and said, I can smell your fucking tampon from here?
Yeah.
And half
It
of
was
our
a
friends
friend
left.
of Joe's. Yeah, it was a
Phil,
this girl.
what was the
doing
thing you were saying that he said?
Oh, I don't even want to hear this.
Oh, he said something about pulling a used tampon out of the women's bathroom trash and scraping it into his drink and drinking a real man's Bloody Mary. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's real fucked
So,
up.
my friend who was a priest was at this show. Paul the priest.
I believe that was the only show.
Yeah, it was the only show he ever went to. And he brought his wife and his kid.
Oh, jeez.
And I remember Adam Weeks was there, and he was like super upset. Everyone
Daniel
was.
and Bud were working the door. You guys
Yeah.
were like 11 at the time.
Yeah.
I remember he asked me what the cover was. I didn't even know what a
Oh,
cover was.
Yeah. Like, what's the cover? Like, I don't know. I think they cover like Operation Ivy.
No, it's like, what is a cover? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I've never been to a show before.
Yeah.
It was a rough night. So,
But the Concordia was actually a pretty nice place to play a show.
yeah, history.
Shortly after that, they decided we're not playing shows anymore.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
They bumped the prices up.
It was a new owner who basically said it's not worth our time. Fuck all of you.
I believe the city,
Fine, I guess.
multiple people own it.
That was afterwards. There was a new owner who had gotten it, and then was like, all of you aren't worth my time. We only want big ticket, important events here.
Which is
And
square
then,
dancing.
and then they went out of business, and now it's owned. Then they were like going bankrupt, so that now it's owned by like the city because that was a terrible business model, saying we don't want your money. For some reason, turning down people's money when you had nothing booked, it was a bad idea.
It was a legendary place, though.
It was, yeah. Replacements played there.
So the last tour, Black Flag, that was their opening show for that tour, actually.
Weird. They flew to La Crosse, Wisconsin to start their
I don't think they flew. Anyway, so we got done the show, and the guy was like, okay, I'm still super fucking angry and fat, but I don't know, whatever, it's fine. He shook our hand. Nick and I got pink eye from this fat
Well, he kept. Lizzie was like, he kept shaking her hand, like to try to like shake her boobs, and she knew what he was doing, so she was just kind of like standing there. He was like, you know what I'm doing right now? And she's like, yeah, super clever, man. But yeah, he sucked. He sucked a lot.
That was the first disabled show. So if you hear like the infamous Anal Blast show, that was the fat pink eye giving grindcore piece of shit. Hell yeah.
Plus, he's dead now.
Dead as fuck.
So we're being.
Rest in peace, fat dead fuck.
Oh, Jesus.
No, he was an okay guy.
No, he wasn't.
Alright, we're throwing to do a song. Bye.
This is Ding Ding Dong by Gunther.
Oh, you touch my tra-la-la. Touch my tra-la-la.
Hey, we're just going to take a second to apologize for the low audio quality of this podcast. Again, it was recorded in field. You have to deal with that sometimes. Anyway, again, Mobfront Records is looking to change how we do things. If you're a creative person in making cool videos, podcasts, or writing cool articles, please send a sample or a link to submissions at mobfrontrecords.com. All right, back to the show.
Okay.
Balls!
So we're back. Just dropped off my dogs, and I'm gonna try to.
Lots of energy!
It's sad as shit, so I'm gonna try to we're gonna do something.
We're gonna tell you about a little band called the Foilies.
So, alright. The Foilies were a band that contacted us on MySpace, because this was back in the days of MySpace.
What is MySpace?
Shut up. You remember MySpace? And
That's the lamest joke ever.
they contacted us.
You know, I actually don't. People act like Tumblr. No idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah, I think
I have
it's
no
like...
idea.
I have no idea what that is.
So they contacted us and asked us to play a show in Oshkosh. And that was some years ago, and we were getting started, so we played pretty much any show anybody offered us. So we were like, sure. And they're like, well, and we can switch out. You guys will set us up a show in La Crosse. Sounds awesome. So we get all set up, and they're like, well, it's at this bar. I'm like, okay. Does it have a PA system? Because we've played shows before, and we know that sometimes you need to bring your own PA system. And they're like, oh, no, this is a bar. They have a ton of shows there. So it should be, they got a PA system, it'll be just fine. New Society Anarchists just played there. I remember they brought that up. And we were like, oh yeah, we've played with them before. They're a real band, they'd know. So we were like, okay, we should be all set. So we get set up to go to the show, and I remember I was excited because I didn't have to work the next day. In all the other shows we played in Green Bay, we hadn't played Oshkosh yet, but in Green Bay, I worked the day of the show and I worked the day after. So I'd get done with work, we'd get in the car, we'd drive to Green Bay, we'd play the show, we'd drive back, and I'd get back into another car and drive to work again. And this time I wasn't going to have to do that, so I was pretty excited. Okay, so we drive up to Oshkosh, and we get to the bar, and we go in, and we're like, we're the band, where's the stage? And they're like, in the corner of the room. I'm like, okay, this does not look as professional as we were told. Where's the PA system? Oh, there's no PA system. So, at this point, we turned to the Foilies who were there, and we're like, okay, so what do we do?
Dude, and we're, okay.
Okay.
When we're saying bar, we're saying the bar where your parents hang out. It's like a normal, not punk rock, not music orientated. It's literally, it's not designed for bands. And we meet the Foilies out in the parking lot.
And I remember one of them was wearing like a million-year-old Nirvana t-shirt, and the other one was wearing a G.G. Allen t-shirt. Yeah. And then there was the bass player who was wearing like a purple button-down or something. Yeah. So we're like, all right, well, what do we do for PA here? We didn't bring ours because you told us there was a PA. What do we do? We're like, well, we got this like $10 Radio Shack microphone, and we can just plug it into my guitar amp. I just have to borrow your guitar amp. All right, that'll work. We'll do that. I mean, it sucks because we have two vocalists, but we'll just play it like the Beatles. We'll lean in together, it'll be fine. So you can use my guitar amp. Fine. Well, then they're like, all right, well, it was set. Oh, but also I didn't bring my guitar, so can I use your guitar as well as your guitar amp? Okay. And then the bass player was like, well, I was going to plug into the PA. Can I use your bass amp? Okay. And then the drummer was like, well, I didn't bring like all of my drums, so can I use like 90% of your drum kit? Okay. So,
that would seem from someone that's not in music as like an awkward thing.
But it's
65% of the shows that we play. That is a normal thing for touring bands.
We're the only fucking
to show up where the drummer shows up with a backpack and a pair of drumsticks, expecting there to be a drum set. And we've always brought shit. I've always wondered what they do if there isn't a drum set.
Yeah,
because like a lot of bands don't come with drums now; it's acoustic. But
so if they all show up with, assuming somebody had a drum kit, do they just like?
I guess we're getting drunk.
Do they just like get a bunch of people from the audience to like crouch down and beat drums?
Now we played two sets, sort of. Well, the Foilies played their first set.
Well, okay, well no, because we didn't play right away. Like we set everything up, and then it was open bar. So we all decided to sit down and have some drinks because it wasn't time for the show. And so I sat down. I remember I got a Murphy's Irish Stout. I don't know what Alex got. Lizzie was not drinking. She was going to drive. And we sat down and we were talking to the Foilies who, even though it was open bar, they got like a picture of the cheapest thing you have and just started pounding that shit down. Like we were having a couple of drinks, having a nice time. This was work. This needed to be done. We are getting fucking hammered. But, they were nice enough guys. We were talking. We were setting up. We mentioned that we recorded bands. And they're like, oh, we could record with you guys maybe. And we're like, yeah, that sounds fun. You seem like that. Okay.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, we lost it for a minute because Phil ruined everything.
My bad.
But anyway, so, all right, we're in the story. The Poundies are... The Foilies are... Poundies, that's a great band name. So the Foilies are getting trashed like it's their job. And we were waiting for the show to start, and talking and stuff, and so it's finally time to start. And as soon as they started to play, they switched from pitchers to bottles of beer, which should have been like an indication, but we didn't really think much of it. So they started playing, and we went up front, because we've always done that. You know, when you're playing the show, you support the show. So we went right up front, and we're ready. And the first few songs were super catchy, super fun, like incredibly offensive, but catchy, fun songs. It was like, Sally's got the clap. Hey, hey, hey. It was a lot of fun. So we were having a good time, and they're just throwing down, like, all the amps covered with, like, beer bottles just everywhere. And so they keep getting progressively more drunk, and the songs start to fall apart more and more. They get uglier and uglier, and they also start getting more and more naked. Like, they're taking off clothes, which, you know, it's fairly common for a drummer to take his shirt off and everything, but after a while, the singer and guitar player who was playing my guitar was down to his boxer briefs, and he was taking his penis out quite a lot. And I remember at one point, he took it out, and he went over to the windows leading onto the street, and was pressing his dick up against the window and waving it at the people passing by.
A family. There's a family walking by. He timed it. He saw a family walking. He dropped his boxer shorts and put himself up against a huge window, and the family was just like, "Oh my god!" And like, just fucked up out of their mind.
And then the drummer was about the same. And then they started like sword fighting with their cocks and stuff, and just and pissing on each other.
They were fighting. They were fighting each other with their dicks.
And it just keeps getting worse and worse. And by this point, we're just kind of standing there. Everybody in the bar is like.
And like, we were like, maybe we shouldn't have said that we would help them record the record.
Yeah. Finally they get to the last song. And they're like, "Fuck you guys, this is our last song." And like the last song, the guy takes the guitar, strums it one time, and then he sets it down by the amp. So it just starts feeding back. The drummer starts kicking over all the drums, and then they each start grabbing bottles, breaking them, and stabbing each other and themselves, and just cutting themselves. There's broken glass everywhere. Deep. There's blood all over everything. All of our equipment, blood all over it. Blood all over the floor, glass everywhere. And eventually they get done, and they're like, grab the microphone, and like, "Fuck you!" and like pull the cord out of the back of the microphone. Which, if you've used microphones and you've used like quality microphones, you know they separate. This was a $10 Radio Shack microphone, so he had just turned it into a goddamn paperweight. So the bartender is naturally like, "Well, the show's over," and we're like, "All right, well, we kind of want to play."
We explained to him we weren't like the first band.
Lizzie and Alex went to talk to the bartender, and I went to the Foilies, and I'm like, "Okay, well, number one, you have blood all over my guitar, and I don't want your hepatitis, so you're cleaning my guitar. Number two, you understand that you just broke that microphone, right?" I'm like, "Oh no, it comes apart." I was like, "You need to look again, because there's like loose wires hanging out," and they're like, "Oh God, we're so sorry." And they're like, "Yeah." So we'd seen a Walmart driving into town. They're open 24 hours. Like, sometimes they have equipment. Let's go see if we can find a microphone. And then, so we went to find a microphone, left them to clean up the stage and the glass, and reassured the bartender, like, "We are not like this. Please do not call the cops or shut down the show." So we go to Walmart, and they're like, "You know, you guys have equipment?" We're like, "Oh yeah, a lot of Walmarts have that." We don't have anything. So then we drive back. We're like, I don't know what the hell we're gonna do, but there's a guy at the bar who's like, "Hey, I have equipment. I'm like, I can bring a microphone." Fucking lifesaver. So he goes and he comes back with a Shure SM57, and he was like, "Here you go." And we're like, "Power cord?" He's like, "Oh, you needed the cord too?" Yeah.
Well, we didn't have a PA.
We didn't have a PA. We didn't
plug it into an amp.
But he didn't know that.
He brought a cord.
Oh, did he? Oh, you just couldn't plug it.
It was a real microphone.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, well, this is useless. And we're like, "Well, you're really nice of you to do this, but it helps us not at all." And so I guess we're just gonna play by shouting at the top of our lungs over the top of the guitars, which is what we did. And we played pretty well. It went over well. The people in the bar were like, really like, "Hey, you guys are pretty good," you know. And we went around, because there weren't very many people there, but we went around like thanking everyone individually for putting up with all of it. And we were going through, and I got up to the bartender, and the Foilies at this point had come up to us and given us like $20 gas money, which was more than we were expecting, given that the fucking thing was almost like, the police were almost called. So we go to the bartender, and we're like, hey, thanks for not shutting things down. And they're like, hey, I saw them give you some money. How much money did they give you? It's like $20 gas money, but honestly, it's fine. We weren't expecting anything. It was like, I gave them $250. You were the headliners, and the only reason that show worked. You need to get some more money out of them. We look over, and they're fucking booking out of there. Like, had all the gear packed up, and we're gone. And we're like, you know what? They probably needed it more than us.
So yeah,
But,
we decided to help.
But we'd
them
already promised them a show.
Yeah, a show, and we decided to help them on their record.
Well, let's do the show first.
Oh.
We'll go to the record second. So we promised them a show. So they had to come and play in lacrosse. So we get the show all set up. And before the show, we had to sit them down, and we're like, okay, these are friends of ours. Like, this is a place we have a very good working relationship with. You are not doing any of those things here, or we will kill you. Like, we will actually kill you. Do not do any of that here. Also, they were staying at our house, which was just a great idea. So we're like, in our house, it is a drug-free zone. There's a fantastic little walking path back behind our house where the high schoolers like to go and get high. If you need to go get high, go in the fucking woods. You're not doing it at our house. And they're like, okay, it's okay. All right. So they're going to play this show, and they have to play it without getting naked and cutting each other up, which they were pretty upset about. But they decided to kind of improvise by repeatedly insulting the audience instead. And half the audience is friends of ours, and they were just like, within about 3 songs, they all just left because they didn't want to hear these guys call them pussies or whatever. And the only ones who stuck around were the Fanta Girls, because the Fanta Girls came to every show. There's Emily and Bryn and Nikki and Siobhan. They came to every show, and they were always up front. And so they were still there, and they were just fucking brutal to them. I mean, he was like, kept asking Emily if she was a dyke and telling her to dance. It's just awful, just unpleasant. So the whole fucking crowd left. The show eventually ended, and Steve's like, okay, they're never playing here again. But, he put up with it, and we played our set, and then they came to our house and got hammered. And what was that?
I walked by, and Andrew, I think Cockneys played.
Yeah, the Cockneys played that.
And
so it was a good show overall, except for...
It was back when they were great shows. And I walked by, I was going downstairs, and I walked by the kitchen, and the Foilies were teaching Andrew how to do the foilie. And what the foilie was you drink as much stolen liquor as you can while you jerk off. So I walk by 3 grown children, pants around their ankles, drinking booze, jerking off, and I decided just to let that be.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, they weren't that crazy at night.
No, it actually went okay.
We decided that they were up.
I wasn't kidding about killing them.
Yeah, we were gonna start their record.
Yeah.
And back then we used to have to track things out, and we usually started with guitar, and then because it was easier to do drums, and that didn't work out. And then we went in with drums. And I have to say that, I mean, they at least each drank 40 or 50 beers while they were recording. I mean, just like huge amounts of alcohol, and just tremendous.
Well,
amounts.
you didn't even get to the just getting them there.
No way, because the first night we started the record the next day on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
And then we're like, okay, we got drums done, and then we're gonna do other things, and we would set up a date. And I remember it was like the next weekend at like noon, and it was 1:30, which is pretty normal for bands. So I called them. I'm like, hey guys. And I remember the first time I called him, I got the drummer, and he's like, yeah, we're in like Cleveland. And I'm like, what? Why are you in Cleveland? He's like, oh, it was a party. We played this party. And I'm like, all right. And then we set up another date. And there was another date, and I called it, and I got just his phone number, his home phone number, and I picked up the phone, and the guy went, what? I'm like, hey, can I talk to Mr. Valentine from the Foilies? Travis Kevin, whatever the fuck his name was, just threw the phone. The guy's like, what? What do you want? Why are you waking me up? I'm like, we're set to record. And again,
2 hours ago.
again, I set up another date, which they didn't do, and eventually said we couldn't do the record. So the record just faltered. And it probably would have been a pretty good record. But years later, like 8 years later, dealing with the Foilies, we go back to play with Brian and Oshkosh. And we go to this bar, and we're saying, like, yeah, we had played Oshkosh before. And she's like, really? What place did you play? And we're like, oh, just some redneck bar. And she's like, oh, like, yeah, we played with this band called the Foilies. And her face changed. She's like, I've heard about that show. It fucking made all the way through Oshkosh. It made us, I guess, famous in a sense. Yeah, I mean, it's just legendary Foilies stories. It's great. Oh, by the way, the poster for that show in the redneck bar, they gave us a copy of the poster. Remember, this is a bar that your parents would go to go have a drink after work. It was a woman trying to slice the testicles off of a man who was chained to the floor, and it said Foilies on top, headliner, and then like disabled punk rock show, $5 or some shit. That was the poster for the band. Anyway, I heard years later that the singer had mental issues and he was in a Burger King or something and went into seizures. And
I didn't know that.
Cracked his head open in like a Burger King, and they found drugs on him and they put him in an insane asylum. And that's the last I've ever heard.
I guess that wouldn't surprise me. Anything about the drummer?
No,
the bass player was gone by the time of the lacrosse show. Because he seemed like a fairly normal dude, and he was just like, yeah, I'm not into this. And then the weird part is, the weirder part is, shortly after that, we had a show at Shake Fork Records. Remember Shake Fork Records? Which was it was a barn on top of a hill outside of Viroqua in a small like farmhouse. And there's a guy from Chicago. We found out later there was like a meth front. Like he was selling.
It's still operating.
Is it still operating? Oh, okay. So he's like selling drugs. But so he set up these shows in his barn. Like you'd play inside the barn, and then you'd open the big double doors, and everybody would be standing out on like the lawn in front of him. And we came up for this show, and seriously, this was like a month after the Foilies thing, and we go up to play, and it was us. There was a couple bands from Chicago that he brought in. I know Haymarket Riot was one, and then there was a local kid band from Westby, and the local kid band is playing first. And they get up and they have 2 original songs. Everything else is like Stooges covers and fucking Sonic Reducer. And I remember in the middle of Sonic Reducer, the singer just leaves, just walks out. And the rest of the band keeps trying to play the same 3 chords because they are just as confused as everybody else as to why the lead singer left. And he just disappears, and you see him wandering around in the back of the barn while everybody else is playing. And he finally comes out with a mason jar. And we're like, oh, son, seriously? And he smashes the mason jar, starts fucking cutting himself up. Is this going to be our thing now? All of the opening bands we play with are going to be fucking cutting themselves up? But, no, the best part about that show was it was, at the time that they were playing, and then when we played, it was just pouring down rain. Just, sheets, zero visibility rain as we're playing. And then in the middle of our set, it just stops. But it doesn't stop in that, oh good, the rain's over way. It stops in that something is wrong way, when everything gets kind of yellow and eerie. And we're like, well, this is odd. And we kind of, we
it makes
laughed.
sense now. They didn't want us in the house, and he tried everything possible. It makes sense now why he didn't want us.
So we stopped playing because this is fucking eerie. We kind of walk around the side of the barn with some of the other people, and there was the tornado.
Yeah.
You could see the funnel cloud up above. It ended up later in the night touching down on the other side of Viroqua, but at the time we didn't know what was going on. We're like, okay, so what are we going to do about this? You got anything in case that fucking thing comes this way? And he's like, well, I guess, because he's been trying to keep us out. He's like, we have a basement maybe we could use. And we're like, okay, well, let's go take a look. And we go in the house, and then you have to enter through a trap door in the floor, and it's a crawl space that I'd have had to crouch to get in, and I'm a short guy. And so it's a crawl space that has It's like the Bangalore of spiders. Like there were so many spiders there.
Nice house though.
No.
Yeah,
But the crawl space, there were so many spiders that like the population density probably contributed to a great deal of spider poverty. Is what I'm saying. It was like terrible. So many spiders, and it was also filled up about mid-thigh deep with water. And we're like, yeah, we'll cram.
Jump down there.
We're all looking at it like, we'll take our chances with the tornado because I don't want to be bit by a million spiders and drown. so we get out and the tornado doesn't come. It starts to rain again, and we play the rest of our set. And we ended up going home. We had to work the next day. But Tanette, the German foreign exchange student, was there, and I remember she was like, this was interesting. I'm like, yeah. She was like people never do things like this in Germany. I'm like, oh. No, nobody does this here either. We're just fucking idiots.
Yeah. So those are some fun punk rock stories.
2 shows in a row.
All right.
2 shows in a row.
We're going to close it now. This is Alex from Nick and Alex and Dicks with Friends. Goodbye. Bye. Say bye, Phil. Bye. Bye.
Came into town that night.
We're going to ride this podcast out with Treat the New Guy Right by the Chicago legend Silkworm. Thanks for listening, guys.
Alone like a wandering Jew, she said, who will protect me from you? It was only then they were playing the fools. And you run into the night. Ain't you ever been alone in your life? Road ahead coming for you. You gotta treat the new guy right. When you run into the night, ain't you ever been alone in your life? Road ahead coming for you. You gotta treat the new guy right.
Nothing could happen so fast, like in the old days when the atom got smashed.
On a flight to Reno, there's no living in the past. Sheets are red cause the bed is on fire. When the plane touched down it blew a tire. That was just the